Let's move ahead to an absolutely productive panel discussion right now. Of course, this is, the much-awaited topic right now. And let us understand the challenges, the key points, the key potential of automated HRMS. Let us make most of the HRMS by increasing the employee efficiency and, of course, empowering them. Well, to put enlightenment on the topic in unlocking the true potential of automated HRMS, I shall call upon our panelists for today. Well, our panel consists of Madhu Subramani, Senior General Manager, HR, Prospira India Automotive. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? Well, the next panel member I shall call upon is Sanjay Kumar, CHRO, APAR Industries. Joining them on the stage will be Sanchit Sinha, Senior General Manager, HR, Hikal. Joining them will be Manoj Chaudhary, Head HR, Edelweiss Asset Management. Can we have a huge round of applause, everyone? Joining them is Rimi Mukerjee, Head Talent Management, JSW Steel. Calling upon Rekha Desai, CHRO, SBICAP Trustee Company. Joining them is VIPLAV Bhatt, Head HR, Bajaj Mukand. Can we have a huge round of applause? Gurvinder Kumar, DVP HR, Kotak Mahindra Life Insurance. I'll request you to please be on stage. And calling upon the moderator who shall be taking this panel discussion forward is David Madhan, Vice President Marketing and Global Partner Ecosystem, Adrenalin eSystems. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? I'll request the entire panel to please be seated.
Morning. How's everybody doing in Mumbai? I come from Chennai, so it's finally good to be here on dry ground. We had enough water for, I think, the next 2 or 3 years. I have Thiru, my colleague, there as well, and I was just sharing with the panelists, as they are setting it up, let me keep you entertained. I was just sharing with the panelists. I have a mini zoo at home. My biggest problem in the rains was catching my dogs, which were swimming in the water and having fun. And for a second, I was thinking, right, Mumbai rains are even, worse than it has normally been in Chennai. And kudos to you guys, for the resilience that you show in the rains every year, right? So good to see a full house. And as I request the panelists to please take your seats once they do the setup. So how's the caffeine level, folks? Can I hear a loud good morning from each and everybody here? Morning, guys. I'm still sleepy. I didn't sleep last week, as you know, so that really woke me up a bit. But a bit louder would be better. Morning, everybody. Good morning. Now I sound like a HR person who's doing that Friday fun event, don't I? All right, please. Thank you. Any order. Yeah. I don't intend to stand for 1 hour, guys. I need a chair as well. All right, great. So I'll place myself like this so I can see everybody. So thank you, and welcome once again. It's an interesting topic, and I believe it's the right topic to have as the first panel discussion, talking about how technology can actually be used to its fullest potential, right? And today we have an esteemed panel, and Thiru, who gave the opening speech, mentioned about 900 man-years of experience with all the speakers here. Out of the 900 man-years, we have 200 plus man-years of experience to my left here on the stage. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to request each of the panelists to pick up a mic, briefly introduce yourself and your experience. I think I've already introduced myself, but just for the record, my name is David Madhan. I represent a company called as Adrenalin eSystems. We are a HR tech company, part of the erstwhile Polaris group. We've been in business for about 20 years. I handle the marketing as well as the partner ecosystem function. And my passion, apart from running the zoo at home, is actually building relationships and having fun in panels like this and learning from people on the stage as well as off the stage. So I request, maybe we can start with you, Gurvinder.
So hi, good morning. My name is Gurvinder Kumar. I am a Deputy Vice President in Kotak Mahindra Life Insurance, and I have around 26 years of work experience ranging into primarily 3 industries: life insurance, banking, and pharmaceuticals.
Thanks, Gurvinder. Sanchit?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Sanchit Sinha. I work with Hikal, and I have more than 23 years of experience in varied industry, right from pharma to engineering to insurance to supply chain. And currently, I'm working with a chemical and a pharma company. So, nice to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sanjay.
My name is Sanjay Kumar, and I work for APAR Industries Limited as the group CHRO. And this is a manufacturing company in the power sector. It is the darling of the street today, if you see. And there are many HR practices which are also, I'm enjoying the journey. Prior to this, I've worked with HCL, Dell, Convergys, and Airtel. These are the companies I've worked for. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Madhu. I head HR with a company called Prospira India Automotive. We are in the auto component space. We supply automotive components to most of the car manufacturers across India. I have about 17 years experience in HR overall. And prior to this, I was working with companies like AkzoNobel, TAFE, ZF Wapco, and really looking forward to the session today and also listening to all the speakers. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone, and really happy to be here. My name is Rimi Mukerjee, and about 19 plus years of experience in different industries, having spent majorly 17 years about in Raymond, which has been fashion and retail, FMCG, diverse industries. And after 17 years, I decided to venture out into steel industry, and that's how I am currently working with JSW Group as their group head talent management. Looking forward to this interesting interaction and looking forward to interacting with all of you during the next 2 days. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I audible? Yes. Yeah, great. Good morning, everybody. Myself, Rekha Desai. I represent SBICAP Trustee. We are a 100% subsidiary of SBI Capital Markets, and SBI Capital Markets is 100% subsidiary of SBI, so that's how we are. My experience is of 23 years, ranging from starting from Tata Finance and then predominantly into IT, which is with Syntel, which is Atos Syntel now, L&T Infotech, Auxilia, Nelito, and back to finance field, which is SBI Cap Trustee. I'm looking forward to have a very thought-provoking interaction with all the panelists and the other sessions that we have for 2 days. And the motto of, being an HR professional, my motto has been to, as the first speaker said, one machine can do work of 50 ordinary people, but one extraordinary person can do wonders. So the motto of HR professionals, or rather my motto has always been, you all are diamonds, our employees are diamonds. We have to sharpen those diamonds to shine. Thank you.
Namaste everyone, I am Manoj. I lead HR for Edelweiss Asset Management, which in layman's term is Edelweiss Mutual Fund. Been there with Edelweiss for 10 years. Before that, did my master's from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. As an HR professional, I love growth. I love building happy and performing organizations. And looking forward to this interaction. I think 900 plus is the number, so looking forward to learning from that experience.
Hi, good morning. I'm VIPLAV. My journey is into human resources 28 plus years. During this journey, I worked in different industries, from paint manufacturing to IT industries to telecom industries to automotive sectors. Last 15 years, I've been working into Tata Group. Recently, I've been moved to the Bajaj Group. And just to share, during this journey, I have been working on all the leadership roles, regional HR, business HR, and group HR, shared services HR. And in addition to that, the business excellence and the total quality management also. So I wanted to thank Synex Group for inviting me to be a part of this panel, and looking forward for more learning interactions with this panelist. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you, VIPLAV, and the rest of the panelists. Great. So, one of the interesting things that I've been noticing in the way the HR technology has evolved, especially in the last 20, 25 years, is it started off with a system of records. If you remember 20, 25 years ago, it was more about having the employee records, timekeeping records, and so on and so forth. And then it kind of evolved into what I believe is a system of transactions. How do I carry forward, leave, and all the other transactions? To today, as Thiru was mentioning, with the multi-generational workforce which is coming in, right? We are talking about Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials. I've lost track of, all those gens. And I heard that there is a new thing which is called as Gen Alpha, which is, I don't know how many of you have heard about Gen Alpha, which is 2010 and later. And can you imagine that's a generation in which ChatGPT is born, right? So we are transitioning from a knowledge generation to an information generation, which means that experience is becoming the key as far as HR technology is concerned. And that's where I personally believe that this HRMS system is moved from a system of records to a system of transaction to what I call now as a system of experience. Right? And this is pretty evident from, if you take a look at some staggering numbers before I pose the first question, does anybody know, globally what has been the spend on HR technology in 2022? Anyone? Just throw a number. Globally I'll give you a hint, it's in billions of dollars. So just pick a number. All right, I think the breakfast session is later, so we'll get some energy at that time. So globally, it was about $31.5 billion. That was the amount that was spent by companies globally in one shape or form of HR technology in 2022, of which $1 billion was from India, close to $1 billion. So companies in India have invested $1 billion in procuring HR technology in one shape or form. And both India and globally, this is expected to go up by 60% in the next 5 years. So we're talking about, close to $1.7 or $2 billion of spend in India, and globally touching about $50 or $60 billion. So there is a need for technology. Everybody is understanding that. Each and every one of you in this room understand that there is a need for technology. And almost every organization has started their technology implementation journey, and they might be at various forms of maturity, but we cannot say that there is a single organization that is not having a technology specific to HR. But the question that still remains is it being really used to its fullest potential, right? Are people actually implementing the right systems? Are they implementing it the right way? And is it meeting the requirements of what I just mentioned of it being a system of experience? So, Madhu, I'll start with you. You come with experience in industries where I personally believe, the automotive ancillary manufacturing industry, where implementing a HR tech across various employee groups, employee sectors is challenging at times. So my question to you is, what do you think is the challenge? When it comes up to implementing a HR technology in an organization which has diversified employee groups, whether it be generations or workforce types, where exactly are organizations facing those challenges, and what are the pitfalls, and how do you think they should mitigate that?
So, if I can speak about specifically about the auto component industry. So just to give an outside in view first, if you see one side we speak about agility, speak about employee experience. The industry, if you see per se, we are a very, very complex, more in terms of the different generations of workforce, and also because of the amount of people, like say in any company, like for example auto component industry, we have about 60% blue-collar workforce and about 30 to 40% white-collar workforce. So we have a challenge in terms of meeting both these ends and creating one technology ecosystem for giving a positive employee experience across the board. And on the other side, if you see the industry on the whole is going through a lot of disruption in terms of cost, in terms of availability in the market and all those challenges. I would look at it more as an opportunity in terms of adopting to technology, adopting to the kind of roadmap for the future. And my own perspective is that if you see HR as business leaders, the HR tech is a part of an entire technology ecosystem. Ideally, if you see the major gaps or challenges which we face is that any HRMS system, or if we adopt a technology, it is a kind of sometimes a standalone system. Okay, it does not communicate with a larger technology ecosystem, say an SAP or a finance ERP system, or even a production planning or something like that. So in an ideal scenario, if you ask me, like something which we have done in our company is that today I want to know, I mean, what is a kind of roster I need to have for the next maybe 1 month or something. So right from a material planning, okay, to a production planning, how many number of machines is required to run to meet the customer requirement, which is running down to the number of manpower which is required. So that kind of, if a HR system can kind of integrate with the entire production planning system and other things, and I think that is an ideal scenario. Okay, yes, we have started the journey. It is quite a challenge, as you know. We have a large organization. We have people from different work cultures and all that who are involved. So it is a challenge. But I think the key point is that the HR technology or the system which we use should be a part of a larger technology ecosystem. And on the other side, if you see say a white collar workforce, we talk about learning management, we talk about performance management system. Still I feel as HR professionals, a lot of times we pull in data from other systems. Okay, I mean, we need to download an Excel file and kind of upload it into the PMS system. So I think there is a huge challenge, at the same time a huge opportunity also. And that's where I think partners, technology partners like you play a huge role. And today, I'm sure in the market we have a lot of products which kind of build a complete ecosystem where you can capture data across different systems, like right from a biometric attendance system to a production output system or things like that. So I think, in my opinion, it's a challenge, yes, because companies like us, we have huge diversity and all that. But it's also an opportunity. I think it's also a huge opportunity for all of us to kind of create a positive employee experience and use technology to leverage these challenges and come up with a complete ecosystem to drive this experience.
Right. Thanks, Madhu. So you brought about a couple of interesting points in there, right? And especially when you said like 60% of your employees are actually blue-collared. But I personally believe, with the way, today there's not one individual who doesn't know how to operate a mobile phone or a smartphone. Every individual has got a smartphone today, right? So from a technology perspective, I think with more and more HR tech solutions actually extending itself, and gone are the days, few years ago, maybe what was available on the mobile was limited, but now literally almost every function is available on the mobile. And that could kind of enhance enhance in providing almost similar experience, if I may use that term, to a white-collar employee as well as to a blue-collar employee. But also some of the aspects that you mentioned in terms of, biometric and facial recognition, technology has also evolved there. Especially if you take a look at it today, there are integrations with facial recognition systems which can recognize a face from a CCTV, right? And I think I'm going to tell Synex to have that so that you guys don't have a long queue registering yourself, so we can recognize you, your face, and get your registration sheets come in. So technology has evolved like that, and what you said is right. I mean, the challenge, I believe, is in an organization to prepare itself to see what is it from technology that I need to provide to which employee group and what type of experience that I need to provide for which generation. I think that is becoming critical. And that leads me to my next question to you, Rekha, because you worked in a lot of technology companies and you're in the financial BFSI sector, two sectors where technology is, they've been in the forefront in implementing technology, right? And I think it's important for the HR folks here to know when it comes up to implementing HRMS solution or any solution, right? Because HRMS has become a big word because there are a lot of very niche solutions also in the market today to cater to certain specific requirements in managing people. So how do you think an organization, and more specifically HR, what are the steps that they need to take to prepare? Because in our experience, more often than not, we find that when we get into implement the solution, it's not about policies from day one. Policy is number 3 or number 4 on the list. It's about vision and stuff like that, right? And it's important for people across the board, and more so because HRMS is still owned by HR professionals in terms of, the success of the solution. How do you think an organization, and specifically HR folks, prepare themselves for technology implementation in an organization?
Yeah, thank you for this question. And I will add to what Madhu has already said. I think what we need to really understand is the expectation of business has changed. I will not even get into HR, but what is that my organization's vision, mission for short term, long term? We have to understand that. Where is the business scenario? What is my competition doing? So I think rather than HRMS becoming a baby of HR department, we need to sit with CEO and the board and understand what are their expectations and what are the inputs that we are getting from the competition. If we are very clear about that, then the next step, of course, is an integrated ERP solution that we need for the organization. And, once we work very closely with the IT head and the business heads, because, their sales system or their, the finance system, an overall integration of those systems with HR system is very critical. So I think it is not a baby of HR department anymore, because we all have implemented enough HR systems, I think, by now. And we have already moved from being transactional to strategic and all that. Now what is expected out of HR systems is what kind of business reports it can generate. How those reports can help senior management, middle management, and junior management, where we talk about employee experience. But we also have to understand, basically we are there for business. So if we are not able to satisfy the requirements of business, then any HRMS system will not be successful. So I think this deep study is required. I would suggest, rather than jumping into which solution, what is latest in the market, what are my needs as an organization and how it suits the different generational workforce, it suits the different levels of management. Once that study is done, even if it takes a little more time for that study is fine. But doing that deep study is very important for success of any HRMS. I would say not even HRMS, for ERP for my organization. Because if my ERP for my organization is working, my HRMS is a part of that ERP. So it will work. Otherwise, it won't work. So it will again become a standalone system. After 2 years, we will be again looking for another partner for HRMS, and this journey will continue. And finally we will not deliver what is required from HR's perspective. So as you said, now we are moving towards not only HR excellence, but business excellence. Because most of the time, as the earlier speaker also said, that business heads are asking HR heads, how my productivity can be increased, why my business is suffering. They are not asking business heads, they are asking HR heads, because these kind of results are required from HR heads rather than from business heads. So my, from my experience, my take on this would be, please look at the requirements in detail at macro level, drill them down at the micro level, and then go for integrated ERP where the HRMS is integrated. Thank you.
Right, thanks, Madhu. Some interesting points in there, right? Especially, I think you summarized what it means to be a HR business partner in true sense, right? Because the point that you made is, HR needs to look at things first from a business perspective, and then plug in the people element into the business perspective, and then plug in the technology element to the people and to the business perspective, if I can summarize. And what you said is right, especially post-COVID, I've been talking to a lot of people who are on the boards of large companies. And I think for the first time, I heard the first non-financial performance conversation that was happening in boardrooms was about people. And it was about how do I retain? It was about how do I kind of, provide them their wellness? And how do I get the maximum out of them? Those were the three things that was coming in every board meeting after the first that's the first non-financial conversation that was happening, right? And it's pretty interesting because, and I think that is when reality actually hit a lot of business owners also, because even today, if you take a look at it, sometimes this is the debate I have with people. We say people are our assets, but we put them under the cost bracket in the financial statement, right? So that is where the trend is changing, even in the mindset of C-level executives, because they've understood that in spite of having technology, in spite of having whatever the best you have, at the end of the day, it is the people who have to use the technology to drive the results and the outcomes that is expected. Right, so that's where the conversation about people became more and more important. So on the same breath, Rimi, I'll come to you. With your experience of working with, multiple large organizations, one of the challenges is, as Madhu was mentioning, and also as Rekha mentioned, right? I believe it's the technology is there, right? It is implemented in one shape or form. But the biggest challenge always lies in how do you adopt that technology? How do you use the technology, right? Because technology has always been there in one shape or form. And I've always found a constant struggle. And even in any field, not just in HR field, but even, I've run sales teams. Making them use CRM was one of my biggest challenges, right? Adopting a CRM system was one of the biggest challenges, right? And sometimes organizations do have to force it with an iron fist, I believe. And you tie it with incentives or you tie it with penalties, either a carrot or a stick, one of the things we had to give. So what has been your experience? What is the best way to ensure that, with all the technology investments that has been done by organizations, how do you actually have the maximum adoption by the users? Because if there is one technology piece that touches every individual in an organization, it is a HRMS. It's not an ERP, it is not a CRM, it is not even an email system, because a worker does not have an email. But if there is one system, it is the HR system in one shape or the form. So what do you think are the best practices one should follow to ensure adoption of technology?
Well, thank you so much, David, for that question. And I think just taking it up again from what Rekha said, the first and foremost, I believe, and my experience has been that before you really go and implement a system and you expect people to adopt the system, it's a massive culture change for the organization. The organization, the management needs to be prepared that this will result into change of way of working. It will not be the same way, the way we've been dealing with people, the way we've been working. So once that mindset, if the management is prepared, so therefore I think the point which I'm picking from Rekha is that unless the business is not ready for implementation of technology, we should not proceed. If it takes a lot of time, maybe months, it is okay to do that, but let's get the business convinced, let them know what is in it for them, and let them be prepared that yes, this will mean that the way of working will change, culture will change. The next part is once the business is convinced, and how do you ensure people adopt? Some of the things that we have done, I mean, in my previous, in various organizations, in my experiences, identify what are those small touch points. So while implementing a module in technology, let's not go and implement, maybe we probably end up implementing, say, a learning management system. But my experience has been that if we identify those touch points which an employee is dealing with on a day-to-day basis, for example, their attendance, their leave, their payroll, if such things are at the tip of their, but at the click of a button if they are getting, and such things if we are able to provide them through technology, that will lead to an early adoption of the system. In fact, coincidentally, in my previous organization, we picked up the point on blue-collared. We had a huge number of blue-collared workers, and we had to implement the system for the blue-collared workers, and it was a struggle. But interestingly, when they started applying for their leave, and looking at their leave records on the digital system, so they actually used to come and say that, madam, I don't have to go to the time office, wait there in a queue for my leave and attendance. I can actually see it in my system. So that itself made a lot of, and what happened? These guys start talking positively about the system, and that creates adoption. So what we did was to create more adoption among the blue-collared workers. We created a group of, a cohorts like, the super users, or we identified people from the union. We trained them, we communicated to them, we shared the benefits of the system to them, and then they started going and talking to the larger organization, and that created a ripple effect, and people started adopting. So yes, so the touch points, identifying which are the touch points and implementing them, creating these super users and getting them to go and trained. Your HR team needs to be extremely well trained to respond to the queries, because if the system is such which is not easy to use, and the HR is being asked questions and HR is not able to answer questions, employees will not have the patience to use the system. So I think the resolution of queries is extremely important, and therefore the preparedness of the HR team or the people who are implementing the system needs to be immense. And most importantly, I think in this whole journey, communication plays a very, very important role. What continuous communication, maybe even, getting all your, so what we did was that we said that none of our circulars would go through email. It will all be posted on the system. With that rule, everything started coming on the system. People had no choice. If they want to know, if they want to be updated on what's happening in the organization, they had to go back to the system and see what's happening. So these were some of the things, and I think continuous communication, and what David, you mentioned that you incentivize. So creating contests among, say, if it's a multi-locational organization, and you can actually create contests among different plants, different locations, that which are the locations which are really adopting well, and that also creates a lot of motivation amongst people. So these are some 4-5 things in my experience we have done, and honestly my experience largely ranges in manufacturing setup, where the implementation of technology becomes extremely challenging, and in such cases with blue collar these have worked and people have really happily adopted the system. So
right.
Yeah.
So interesting points there, Rimi. I mean, if I can summarize this in a slightly different manner, I would say creating those personalized experiences based on the employee type, right? Because you spoke a lot about blue-collared employees and, how there was this, that entire thought shifted in the way once they started seeing their leave and time and attendance in front of them, right? So how are you kind of creating a personalized, value-driven experience to them? And that is where I think, technology has evolved a lot today. For example, today if you take a look at it, one of the examples that I gave is having facial recognition to recognize the individual so that, you don't need to go and stand in a queue to punch in your time. And in some of the areas where we've personally been innovating using the latest AI technologies and stuff is geofencing, WhatsApp nudges. So today when I get into my office, as soon as I get into the parking, I get a ping on WhatsApp saying, hey David, do you want to sign in? Right? And the other thing which we're working on is, now I'm on a 2-day trip here. Can AI actually kind of go ahead and reschedule my meetings automatically by looking into my calendar or route it to somebody else? So these are some of the ways by, as you rightly put it across, identifying those high touch points and bringing about technology to ease human intervention, making it more of a push technology to the user rather than it being a pull technology could be the right starting step for actually people to go ahead and start using technology. And the moment they see the value coming out of the technology, I think adoption will automatically follow. So that brings me to the hot buzzword today, which is AI, Gen AI and all those things, right? So I was just cracking a joke the other day saying that we need an AI tool to track the number of AIs that is coming in and tell us which is the best one. So VIPLAV, I'll come to you. You've got 28 years of experience, multiple industries. You've seen the transition of technology across, I'm sure right from those punch in, punch out in time offices, which I remember vividly when I used to go to my dad's factory. He used to work with the Hindu newspaper, so that was my first experience. I mean, I used to be amazed with that machine and the holes it makes and how they punch it in, right? So from there to, what the example that I just gave today, I don't even need to punch in my attendance, right? So AI does it for me. It tracks me where I am and it says, hey, you're here. Do you want to punch in? Today I'm in Bombay. You're not there. You're in a different location. Are you on work or are you on a personal trip? So technology has evolved a lot, right? And we're talking about virtual assistants for HR, virtual assistants for co-pilots, bots, AI, and AI coming in literally every place, be it performance, be it experience, and so on and so forth, right? So where do you see this leading? I mean, one, from a HR perspective, what benefits is it going to give to an HR person? And another from an employee perspective as well. Your take on this?
Yeah. Hello. Am I audible? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, David. It starts with, during my journey, I have learned that we as a HR first need to understand the business, where we are, how we are growing the business, how we are supporting the business. Now, it starts with, I'm not talking about using the traditional way of technology, but as a HR, it starts from what are my value systems, what are my business vision, how my value systems and how I want to conduct it. Now, coming back to this scenario, first it starts with how I'm leveraging my technology towards building my culture. That it starts with. I will not talk about the simple things what David had shared, that face recognition and all those things. First of all, I as a HR supporting business, how I'm leveraging the technology. So it starts with that. Now coming back, the advantages of this technology, like economies of scale. I have a system where people are using it from across the places, across location. Yes, I am trying to give the benefit of this advantage to business. But my cultural value, it talks about I should be running my business in such a way. I wanted a culture where the safety has been given importance. So now, what David was telling, how you can use push and pull factor. For example, if my performance management system, it starts with how my scorecard has been designed and it's been from top to bottom, last mile, how it has been cascaded in alignment, but with my old requirement of, the traditional smart framework and all those things. But I wanted to bring my cultural values into my this. So my push factor, my system I can make it mandatory that there is something, there should be some goals pertaining to my values, which I wanted to safety. If my vision talks about I am doing to innovative way, if I want to give innovative products to my employee, how I am bringing innovativeness in my culture through these systems. If I am having this goal setting system process, which talks about that these areas should be there. So how I am, David, what I want to tell is that how I am utilizing, leveraging the technology and building the culture. Now, now coming back to the efficiency part. This is one area I have talked about. Now coming back to the efficiency part, the automation part, how I am automating the processes. Now, when David, you told that there was a punching system, then we came to the Excel based. We were thinking, yeah, we have automated. Excel pay, you do the data entries, we are automated. Then we talk about these SAPs and all, ERP system. We said, yeah, we have been automated. But in SAP, also you are putting lot of T codes and you are doing it, you are pulling out the report and the data entry of the employees data entry, the entry which basic role that we are only doing. So how I am efficiency being increased? So there is one more step ahead to that is robotic automation. So am I being using this, leveraging this? What is robotic automation? So robotic automation says that it does all the activity right from pulling it starts from my hiring point when my system starts from my AI will help me out in my recruitment process. This AI will also help me in feeding the data into system. So what today's AI is doing, they are just reading the document from image scanner, they are putting all the data into the field which we are typing. We are talking that I am on the SAP, I am automated, but you are not fully automated. You are feeding the data. You are spending your time onto that. So this robotic automation does what? They are filling everything automatically, and entire execution. This is one of the transactions which I am taking the example is been done within 5 minutes by robotic automation. So how I am utilizing, how I am improving leveraging the technology which is improving the efficiency of my HR. Now I am talking about not at the HR. Technology is the backbone for success of the business. It is not only HR's efficiency. Now coming back to that, how I am leveraging, what are my analytical tools? See, data, there is a concept called data. You are working on the data. You are feeding the data into Excel sheet. This is called a data, a raw data. It is not a information. When you are creating this into the summaries, the charts, it is called information. And when my historical charts are coming, I come to know this is what it is. I should be doing this. When I'm able to take the predictive decision, it is called knowledge. So my system, is it enabling me to convert my raw data to a knowledge? Am I being able to use this? Am I being leveraging? Now, this predictive data analysis, I'm not talking about HR now. It is for all the functions. They should be able to utilize this information. How my analytical tools are working in my HR. These analytical tools. Now, how I'm using these analytical tools means, suppose I am in a manufacturing setup, and HR is talking about, the capability development. So one of the parameter of capability development, how I am bringing the cost savings on the employee cost. So, for example, when I am leveraging my technology, do I have an analytical tool which says that my production is increasing or production is not increasing, but the headcount is increasing? Right. So am I being able to see which are the functions where these headcounts are increasing, but production is not increasing? Other parameter I'll share, you have the overtime expenses going into, but which function is giving more overtime, but the delivery is less? the outcome is less. So how business is being using my system, how I'm enabling business to take the decisions. That is what the objective of this AI or leveraging the technology. Another area, David, I would like to say, these employee experiences we talk about. At the end of it, then the boardroom, we are talking about the retention of high pots, right? High pots retention we are talking about. Today you all are coming from the offices. When we are going out of the gate of the office, what we do? At the night 10 o'clock also, if we want to eat something, yeah, Swiggy is there, Zomato is there, movie tickets are there, everything we expect such a huge technological support. But when you are entering into the gate, in the premises, you are not expecting this same kind of experience to the employee. We become older in that case.
Correct.
When we are out of the organization, हमको सब कुछ चाहिए, स्विगी भी चाहिए, रात को 2 बजे खाना चाहिए, पाव भाजी खाना है. That is the where we should give the same kind of experience, how we can leverage it. Now there are various things we talk about, face recognition. The people, the business, we should not be engaging in the small day-to-day activities, mera attendance, mera punching and all this, how I am being able to facilitate my people, how I am facilitating my people, those who are on the field, through geofencing. So these things I am using it. Another area, David, I wanted to take it up, how the efficiency of HR, you said, been improved. Now, if I want to relieve my HR from a day-to-day work that we all are doing, the query resolution of employees, we are being occupied in answering them. And do we have the chatbots? We talk about chatbots. But what I want to take out here, you all have heard chatbot has been prepared and chatbot is answering all my queries related to the policies and all. But how I am bringing my cultural element into my chatbots. For example, my employee is asking, can I bribe my vendor to get this order? What chatbot is going to answer that? What kind of culture I want to bring? I want to bring a culture of non-bribing, non-theft, no gift, no conflict of interest. My employee will ask, can I hire my wife into this position under me? What chatbot is going to answer?
Correct.
So we all are talking about leveraging technology. It is not that. You have to have your own competencies and skills need to be developed, how you are utilizing this technology in the best interest of the organization, in the environment that we want to create.
Absolutely. See, I completely agree with you. And my take on this is, technology, as we all know, is an enabler.
Right.
But what it needs to be enabled is dependent on the organization of the culture of the organization.
Right.
And also it is dependent on the type of people and the adoption that they are used to it. Right. So that's how it is. And coming back to some of the points that you just made, especially, the key takeaways for me is...
David, one more thing. Yeah. I have a whole lot of things to say. Okay, we have a lack of time.
We have a 50-minute panel, VIPLAV.
Yeah. So one is that how my HR technology has been adopted in line with the production automation. We are talking about industry 4.5 and 4.0. So production automation softwares, how they are been talking to my HR software. That connect has to be there. Suppose if I wanted to increase my diversity and my head count also I wanted to release. Which are the areas where I can increase my diversity? Now today people think that in a shop floor women can't work. But there are areas how I can identify through my technological enablers that this is the activities Mr. X is doing. Now these activities not the holding or lifting of a heavy materials where women can't work or something like that. So how I can bring more diversity also in the organization.
Correct.
Right? There are n number of things which way we can utilize this technology. I can keep on talking, but I wanted to stop it here. Ultimately what I want to tell you is that we as a HR should understand understand first, align with the business, then you bring your technology, how it has been in line with my business, how it has been in line with my culture, the values, and my capability, my financial strength, how I wanted to adopt. There are n numbers of things available in the market. Am I being able to buy and do it? It's everything, every capability within my framework, how I can do best for the organization. And the understanding of the business is most important, that every HR has to be done. Thank you.
Thanks, VIPLAV. That is detailed. For a second, I felt like one of the anchors on Republic TV saying that time is up, you got to stop, right? So, Republic or one of those TVs. But jokes apart, some interesting points that you put in there, right? So, for example, if I need to summarize, apart from the culture which I spoke about, and especially when it comes up to using any technology, right? So, sometimes I slightly differ from you in 1 or 2 points, VIPLAV. Maybe I'll take it offline with you. Sometimes technology can be used and should be used to bring in the right culture within the organization as well. Because the culture might be 25, 30 years old. Times are evolving. Technology is evolving. Workforce which is coming in, as I said, you're going to have Gen Alpha coming into the workforce in the next 7 years. They expect a different culture. Vision does not change. Mission does not change. But culture needs to adopt to the type of workforce that is coming in, because that is the future that you're going to deal with as HR folks. So if technology needs to scale itself up, to look at a company policy and say that you cannot hire your family member under your direct line of reporting, technology should allow to do that. And as a matter of fact, today, as VIPLAV mentioned about a couple of technologies, and with Brad and ChatGPT coming in and them getting involved, integrated to the HRMS system, you should be able to go into a chatbot and say, can I hire a family member in my direct reporting line? And there is technology available today which goes through and says no, because if it is written in your policy, right? So there are aspects, as long as there is a written rule, any written rule using AI can be brought out and can be read and can be given, sensible answers can be given. That's where there are 2 different types of technologies coming. One is an LLM, which is a learning model which learns and gives you, which is like the ChatGPTs of the world, and the other is bot. And today, technology in HR and business has evolved, and it is going to continue to evolve in such a manner that is why I keep saying, right, I keep saying that, we are living in a generation where a YouTube shot is long if it is not contextual to what I want to watch, right? So when a YouTube shot by itself is becoming long in a video, technology needs to evolve around that. That's where AI, bots, virtual assistants are continuing to come in. That is not going to alter the vision and mission of the organization. It is your business. The way you want to run it, the way HR wants to run it still remains there. But technology is bringing about a cultural change. 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, how many of us actually used a Swiggy? We have changed there today. As VIPLAV said, at 2 o'clock in the morning, eating habits have gone for a toss. Pehle kya hota tha? 12 o'clock you feel hungry, at home say, pani pee ke so jao. Today's generation of 5th grade, 6th grader will open Swiggy and will order food and say it's already been ordered, cash on delivery. So the same applies, as you said, VIPLAV, even in an organization, the culture will also change. Because if that culture doesn't change, you're not going to retain the people, you're not going to attract the right type of workforce. And that's where technology comes into play, like AI, where, employee wellness is coming into play. For example, in our system today, we ask people to put in a mood meter. What is my mood when I come into work this morning? I'm just going to take 30 seconds more here. And all these things are actually kind of impacting.
Yeah, David, one more thing. Yeah, during COVID time, how we use technology, the temperatures of the employees been taken care 3 times a day through through the mobile app which was connected with the HR. HR used to take care if your temperature has been increased, if there have been continuous monitoring, the employee has been given the assistance. So what has happened, lot of motivation came to employee that has been taken care this way. So how we are leveraging technology in the scenarios, that all we as a HR should be knowing.
Absolutely.
Just, you know, in COVID, just arranging something is different. But then we had created the app on the mobile, which was giving the temperature, and I immediately my person will go and meet the candidate. You've been having low temperature. What is the symptoms? And then the taken care. They have been taken.
Right.
That was the assurance employee was having that when
so I'm going to become
in
a
the
public
gate,
TV anchor again, and I need to go on to the next panelist. So I'm sorry about that. So moving on, thanks VIPLAV. Some interesting insights. We are there in the meeting room outside. I suggest that you can come and continue the conversation with us because there are some interesting topics which you brought out. And again, coming back to the way technology has evolved, not only is it going to kind of bring about a cultural change, but it is also bringing about, as Thiru put across, a lot of change in how do you skill and reskill yourself, first as individuals and then as for the employees as well. And Manoj, I come to you. You come from an industry which is into asset management where apart from the money you guys deal with, the other interesting aspect is, that is one place where I think there's a lot of learning that needs to continuously happen, right? So, what is your thoughts on how technology plays an important part in skilling and reskilling today?
So I will talk about three key terms. One is design, second is experience, third is insights. And I think main role of technology revolves around these three elements, right? Now, when we talk about design, I think both what VIPLAV and David touched upon, right? Zomato did not require any adoption. Swiggy, Uber, nobody taught us how to use it, but still adoption is there. So one thing I want to humbly accept is that if you see as a fraternity, somewhere I think we still need to do more work when it comes to design of our technology. It requires some serious thought because somewhere we are missing some trick where the kind of design which is delivering the experience is not meeting the kind of technology we use in our day-to-day life. And it is solvable because we've seen if it can be solved in actual life, why it can't be solved within organizations. So that is first food for thought. Second, experience, right? And again, I would link back to the first experience, right? Just imagine your experience on a Netflix, on a YouTube, vis-a-vis your experience on a learning management software or the kind of content library you have. Netflix, the moment you finish one first episode of the series, you will watch the second episode. Even if you have to sleep, you will say कि चलो एक और देख लेते हैं. Why the same thing is not happening when it comes to the learning management system which we apply in our organizations? Again, food for thought. I think a lot of work required to be done in terms of content design, the kind of experience which is there. What David mentioned, that YouTube shorts, right? You keep on scrolling them, right? Why can't the same thing come in our organizations? And third, most important thing is the insights part. Now, when it comes to skilling and upskilling, I think insights is the way to go about it. Fortunately or unfortunately, most of the organization, if you see, we don't have data in a shape or in a structure where AI can work upon it. Right? Like right now, our data will be spread across organization, right? My performance data is not talking to my training need assessment data. So can I bring the data in a format, in a structure where I get those insights to create personalized learning pathways is how the future will look like. But I'll humbly accept, I think most of the organizations I interact with, I still feel there's a long way to go. But there's a fantastic opportunity out there. And learning, skilling, upskilling, again, I feel this is one of the areas where organizations invest the last. Right? So I will just end with this, that कौन कहता है कि चिरागों से घर रोशन होते हैं, हमने तो शिक्षा से तकदीर बदलती देखी है.
क्या बात है. Wow. And
Thanks,
on
Manoj.
this note, sorry to interrupt panelists.
You're going to give us 10 more minutes. I know we're running short of time, but we have 3 esteemed panelists, and I think the audience also likes it. Just give us 10 more minutes. We'll wrap up in 10. Thank you.
Okay.
So we've got extra air time. So thanks, Manoj. Some interesting points in there, and skilling and reskilling has become really very important today. And I think the fact is, it's given birth to a new job designation called prompt engineers, and a lot of youngsters are kind of going behind it by itself and picking up the skill. It's just a matter of time where each and every one of us in this room also become prompt engineers, because you're going to use tools like ChatGPT, Brad, and it's always about, it's going to be about, the simplest skill that you need to develop is what are the right question to ask. And what is the right way to ask the right question? Both are becoming a skill by itself, right? The question might be right, but the way you ask it is also becoming important. So we've got 3 more panelists. I know, Sanjay, you've been waiting patiently. I'm just going to come to you. You've got experience in handling HR for multiple countries. You've spent a lot of time handling HR for, large organizations and medium-sized organizations as well. And one of the most used terms or abused terms in the HR space today is Employee 360, right? But I personally feel that, Employee 360 is always limited to what a person does within the HRMS system alone. But that is not true Employee 360. And I know Madhu spoke about it, everybody spoke about it a bit, but I want your insights on how critical is it, when it comes up to integrating with other systems, right? And why is it important? Why is it that all the data needs to come into one place? Your thoughts on that, Sanjay?
Sure, David. Thank you. Yeah. So just before I come to the answer to that, I will just share an anecdote and quickly, being mindful of the time constraint. When I joined my present company, APAR Industries Limited, 8 years back, my reporting manager, the chairman, so the first thing he assigned to me was that, look, Sanjay, we are facing a challenge in implementation of DMS, Document Management System. Then he said, okay, and there is another one, which is the cyber security part. So we are going to engage another company to help us do that. I said, fine. I mean, being flexible, open-minded, all through my career, I was very happy to do that. And then later on, of course, Microsoft Office 365, the SharePoint. Definitely there was an afterthought. Look here, I joined as the CHRO of the company, and what are these activities being done? And there was no HR care till then. So then I realized why he was saying that. Because these were, now employee adoption is most important, and dissemination of information, acceptability, and so that employees start using. And this is the CEO's, actually he was delegating his job to me so that it could be done because of paucity of time at his end. So it is that critical technology. And it is 360 not only within the employee life cycle, but in the entire business cycle, I would say. That's what I was trying to, mention. Now coming to your question, David, I think the first thing is, ideally there should be one HRMS, which ties in everything, and everything rolls up to one software, where all the aspects of the employee life cycle, career path, career movements, they are all in one place, and it is an integrated, seamless experience. However, this is not true as on date, and maybe in the future it may be. The reason is that it depends on the organizational's evolution trajectory it has followed, the different situations, business scenarios it has undergone, and based on that, the strategic HR interventions, including technology initiatives, which had to be done at that point of time. So for example, in our company, the HRMS, of course, does the time and attendance, PMS, and other things. Now, for example, a 360-degree report, and who will be the people who will give the feedback. So those details, as well as, even when we did a Chaudhary window exercise for that matter, a similar thing to give feedback to oneself on a 360-degree. They were different softwares, and we had to integrate them to our HRMS. Similar thing was with the assessment centers for the high pods, when we did a virtual assessment center, and the reports which were generated. So there is a lot of integration, a lot of software IT work which comes in, but as of now, this is how there are many standalone applications, and they talk to each other. We try to do that. So these are some of the things. one good thing we found was the mentoring software, which is Intercell, which we are using. So it is like you just integrate your HRMS with it, and there are mentors and mentees, and there can be that exercise. Similar for employee engagement survey and LMS, of course, it's now easier today. So I would say these are the many initiatives which have been integrated with the HRMS, and besides the SAP thing. What really matters is, and attendance, of course, we all talked about it, so I will not repeat it. What really matters is, beyond a certain point of time, I just hope we don't come to a stage where you use ChatGPT to find out about your own HRMS, all the information.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, but today I think there are born digital softwares, HRMS systems, which are not legacy softwares. They can be easily customized. They have more than 300 APIs. So the integration is much easier. So I think that is one. They have the HRMS, they have the all the modules of that. They have RMS, recruitment management system. They have the chatbot, which makes it easier. They have the LMS is now on the HRMS. So most of it is already there. However, of course, there is time when we get the entire thing out there in one software. But that is the way to go, in my opinion.
No, it's absolutely right.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, we're really running short of time.
We
and
have two
as per the
panelists.
scheduled, we are running 20 minutes.
I understand. We just have two quick questions.
Can we
last two
quickly
panelists.
can we move to the next presentation and probably
Have two more panelists. It's not right if we get them on stage and don't ask them questions. So,
okay? Can we do that
Yeah,
really
thank you.
quickly? Yeah, thank you.
So I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Gurvinder and Sanchit. So quickly, the questions to both of you. Gurvinder, maybe I'll start with you from an analytics perspective. All of us have been talking about insights, and you come from Kotak, where insurance is one industry where the most amount of data is processed. From a people insights perspective, how do you kind of want to deal with it? What do you think are the best practices there?
So thank you very much, and I will be sharp and crisp.
With data insights.
With data insights is that the very famous phrase which says that beta galat ho sakta hai, lekin data galat nahi ho sakta.
That's something I learned today.
With that as a bedrock, that beta galat ho sakta hai, lekin data nahi galat ho sakta. With that as a bedrock, it lays a foundation for the analytics which gives the direction. In one of my colleagues, he talked about that alignment with the business. I think that along with that, there is a dire need of business and HR aligning with the technology. Because if without technology, if we are not aligned with the technology, then we are like a ship lost in the sea. In Kotak Mahindra Life Insurance Company, in the HR format, we have got 3 pillars of HR, that is capacity, capability, and culture. Capacity, that is recruiting and retaining. Capability is training, mentoring, building, and coaching. And culture is creating a wow employee experience. I'll just take one example and I'll shut the down. Is that how are we using technology in one of the piece, that is capacity, is that we have adopted Qualify as a technology, wherein a computerized assistant calls upon thousands of the candidates and on a binary function asks questions, and in no minute of a time, thousands of the CVs and the candidates interact, and we get shortlisted candidates, let's say for example 100 out of 1000, on the basis of our CTQ, that is critical to quality parameters. The human intervention has got reduced so much just with one technological intervention, and now we are dealing with only the shortlisted 100 people rather than working on 1000 people. A lot of time got saved, and with which the performance of the organization improved because we got right quality people in the organization. There are so many other things to say, but I will...
Thanks, Gurvinder. I know. Last question for the day and for the panel. I think Sinex will be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
That I'm saying it's the last question for the panel. Sanchit, I'm sorry it's come at the fag end to you, but your thoughts, when people are here looking for a technology partner for HR, what do you think are the 3 top things that they need to look for?
See,
Can Can we be really quick? Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah, I'll be
sorry.
quick. Yeah. So in fact, the one main aspect one need to look at is whether it is fulfilling a company's objective and whether it is increasing my HR efficiency, operation efficiency. These are the two main objectives with which we look at a HRMS solution. And apart from this, there are a few aspects that we can look at. Is the scalability, because if the business is growing, there would be even more demands in terms of number of employees, new business lines coming up, whether the HRMS will be able to really adapt to that and make that change. Apart from this, there would be how the integration is happening with other systems, because there are ERP systems, time and attendance systems, payroll systems, how the HRM is getting integrated to, because there should be complete seamless data flow so that the analysis is even more higher and better, and it's more useful. And then we can look at other aspects of user friendliness, whether how user friendly is the HRMS solution, because it is from the employee perspective and from the HR perspective. So it should be user friendly so that the adoption is higher. I mean, until that is not there, the adoption will be a challenge. So, and one of the most important aspect one we should look at is the data security and data privacy. With the current regulation, data protection regulation, one need to look at whether it is complying with those regulations, so that when you are actually using the solution, you are complied. So that is one of the major aspects that one can look at.
Well, thank you so much for this absolutely constructive discussion and an insight. Thank you so much. Well, we have to end the session here. Yeah. Can we have a huge round of applause for the entire panelists? Thank you. I'll request all the panelists to please come forward for the group picture. Please. Thank you for sharing expertise, insight on this above topic. Well, can we have a huge round of applause, everyone, for them? Well, to do the honors of felicitating the panelist and the moderator with a memento, I shall call upon Mr. Chinmay Panda, Global Heads of Sales and Expansion, EXM Allsec Technologies Limited. Can we have Mr. Chinmay Panda on stage, please? I'll request one by one panelists to come forward. Madhu Subramani, Senior General Manager, HR, Prospira India Automotive. I'll request you to please join us on center stage and accept the memento. Come on, can we have a huge round of applause and picture? Next, calling upon Sanjay Kumar, CHRO, APAR Industries Limited. Calling upon Sanchit Sinha, SGM-HR Hikal. Thank you so much for all of you for your absolutely valuable insight on the topic. Calling upon Manoj Chaudhary, Head HR, Edelweiss Asset Management. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm sure this panel discussion was absolutely productive for each one of you present out here. I'll call upon Rimi Mukerjee, Head Talent Management, JSW Steel. Thank you once again for joining us. Calling about Rekha, Desai, CHRO, SBICAP Trustee Company. Thank you so much for gracing this event. Calling upon VIPLAV, Head HR, Bajaj Mukand. I'll request Mr. Gurvinder Kumar, Deputy Vice President HR, Kotak Mahindra Life Insurance, to please join us on center stage. Can we have a huge round of applause for him as well? Thank you so much, our panelists. Lastly, thank you so much for keeping the spirits of this entire panel discussion high with our moderator, David Madhan, VP Marketing and Global Partner Ecosystem, Adrenalin's eSystem. Thank you so much. And can we have one last group picture, please? Everyone. Yeah, with the mementos. Yeah. One last picture with the mementos, please. Please join us on center stage. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chinmay Panda. Thank you for joining and felicitating our key panelist and moderator.